Namaskar, everybody, and welcome. This is a new way that we're doing the Wednesday meditations. We're now streaming as opposed to using Zoom. So I hope everybody made it across to this new platform. It's nice to be with you as always. And feel free, given this new streaming platform, to put in any comments or questions as we go through. I see Anushila has started. Yeah, namaskar, Anushila. Now today we will be doing a meditation on food. So I don't know whether you can see I have a walnut here. And so this is what I'm going to be meditating on. So if you haven't got any item of food with you, and it should be ideally an item of food with one ingredient, so it's completely natural, then you might want to go and get something to meditate on in terms of taste. All right. So let's start. We are in the process of looking at the koshas of the mind, the layers of the mind, or the dimensions of being. And we're on what's called the Kamamaya kosha, sometimes called the crude mind or the sensory mind. And last week we looked at the aspect of polarity, the like and the dislike, the love and the hate. And that as human beings, we struggle with this clearly, as we see in today's society. We easily become polarized. One aspect of that polarization is the senses. So this is called the sensory layer of mind. It's the place where we engage with the world through the senses. And we know clearly that when it comes to the senses, there are things we like to taste and things we don't like to taste. There are things we like to hear and things we don't like to hear. It's one way that we can demonstrate to ourselves, if you will, our likes and dislikes. The senses can be used in different ways. If one thinks that they're a technology, then any technology could be used for something constructive or maybe something destructive. One can look at the internet for way too long, or one can look at the wrong things on the internet, or one can use the internet as a way to enlighten the mind. So like many things in life, it's not so much the what. The what is, well, I have senses. It's the how. It's the how one utilizes them that is of critical importance. So this is what we'll explore then today, how we can perhaps better utilize the senses to support our spiritual progress in life. So the first how is taken from the world of phenomenology, the study of the nature of experience. And phenomenology talks about relationships. So when I'm looking at a tree, I'm in relationship with that tree. I'm looking at the tree, and to some extent, the tree is looking back at me. When I'm hearing the morning call of the bird, then I'm in relationship automatically with the bird. So phenomenology would say that what one should do, say, when hearing the bird, is to have one's mind reach out to the bird, to understand that this relationship is mutual. So the sound, the sweet sound of the bird's call touches me through my sense of hearing. But also my mind is touching the bird, that we are in relationship. And when we can experience life in this way, we sweeten the experience of life. We sweeten the utilization of the senses. And we become perhaps more respectful of the world around us. I've told you a number of times about my morning hikes. There, on Monday morning, I go for a 3-hour hike, and these hikes are becoming a really important part of my spiritual practice. And every hike, I hug the same tree. It's becoming really quite profound. I mean, even in my meditation here in my room the other day, I was, closing my eyes, and I was in relationship with a tree, that same tree. And so whenever I see it as a relational aspect of myself. I don't just see a tree. I see, a sentient being that is allowing me to interact with it in a very sweet way. So the sensorial relationship is so beautiful. I mean, when I'm hugging it, the sense of touch is quite profound. And in fact, it may sound strange, but I almost feel that I'm hugging another human being. I mean, obviously it's a tree, but it's so profound that it is as satisfying as a human hug. So my point is that when we utilize the senses in a different way, we shift the relationship with the other. Rather, it's not so much the other, it's that we are together experiencing life, myself and the flower, myself and the tree, myself and the bird, myself and the item of food. We are together experiencing life as something magical. So this is the first aspect of the how, is that we see everything as a respectful, mutual exchange. If I'm looking at the cloud, it's because the cloud allows me to look at it. If I'm feeling the touch of the earth when I'm lying down on the ground, it's because the earth is enabling the touch to take place. So we engage then respectfully with everything that our senses allow us to experience. The second way that we can improve the how is taken from Tantra. The spiritual path of Tantra understands that everything, yes, everything, the things we like and the things we don't like, everything is divine. So then the senses themselves must also be an expression of the one divine consciousness that has orchestrated the unfolding of life in this universe. Let's look at this by way of comparison. So often when we think of the senses, and especially in this layer of the mind, which is or can be more selfish, we think of my pleasure, my happiness, my well-being. So let's give an example. I go to Iceland quite a lot, at least when there's no pandemic preventing travel. And the problem in Iceland is there are lots of tourists, and the tourists go to these beauty spots to get their selfies. And so what's happening is that nature is actually being disturbed by the footfall, by the trash, even by the way that tourists may go to the toilet, is being disturbed by the tourists. So the tourists just want to go there, to get the selfie of themselves in front of this waterfall. It's a very selfish endeavor in a way. They're thinking about their own pleasure in enjoying the beauty of nature. as opposed to thinking about the impact of themselves upon nature. When it comes to food, we are often very greedy, very selfish. We just want to eat what we want to eat, and as much as we want to eat of that particular type of food. But we can reverse that. We can change our perspective. So, for example, if we're looking at food, I was on a train in India. It was a long train journey. And myself and a colleague, we'd just gone into meditation. Sitting opposite us was a Muslim family, and they had been served their meal. And we meditated, and after maybe 10, 15 minutes, we opened our eyes, and they hadn't eaten. The food was still sitting in front of them. So we asked, well, why didn't you eat? And they said, well, we wanted to be respectful of you doing your prayer, and so we waited for you to finish. And now that you finished, we can all eat together. I was really quite touched. So just see how they had transcended the greed, if you will, that comes with the senses. They were no doubt hungry. Maybe they were even salivating because, you know, they could smell the aroma of the food, but they were able to resist the impulse of greed for the greater cause of respect for the one praying. So when we then see the world through the eyes, I guess, of the soul, as opposed to just the eyes itself. You know, sometimes we say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But in this sense of the tantric perspective, beauty would be from the perspective of the soul. And the soul is that which is connected to the entire universe. So then the soul, through the eyes, through the ears, through the sense of touch, is experiencing the universe as a divine manifestation. So when I see the flower, I see, well, let's use the word God in the broad sense. I see God in the form of a flower. When I see another human being, I see that human being as an expression of God. When I'm having my breakfast, that meal is also an expression of the divine. And this will completely change the way that we engage with life. We'll be much more respectful. We'll be much more sensitive. We'll be much more present. And we'll be joyful because everything then takes on a new kind of veneer of beauty. So then the senses are provided to us by the magic of life. And through those senses, we're able to experience the magic of life just by a shift in perspective, seeing everything as an expression of the one divine consciousness. So let's have our first, I was going to say taste, maybe that's the right word, our first taste of this. And I hope you have your item of food. So if you can please, let's see, how do I do this so you can see it? There we are. So if you can place your item of food in your hand, and if you can look at it, well, we're using the sense of sight. So as you look at it, if you can just reflect upon everything that had to happen for this item of food to appear here on your hand. I mean, it's quite amazing, isn't it, that the universe had to be created, number one. The planet Earth had to be created with conditions that were enabling for the growth of, in this case, a walnut. had to be the right temperature, the right sunshine, the right nutrients in the soil. I mean, so many things had to happen for this walnut to appear in my hand. What to speak of all the labor that had to take place in order to harvest it and transport it. So before we even put it in our mouths, it's quite an amazing phenomenon for it to simply exist. All right, so let's then take it and we'll put it in the mouth. So please don't. One shouldn't talk with one's mouth full of food. Please don't chew into it just yet. If you can just hold it in your mouth and feel it with the tongue, as if the tongue is exploring it. And the tongue is exploring the taste of the outside of your item of food. I'm laughing because if we always ate food like this, we would eat much less. All right, now we'll have the big occasion, which is the first bite into your item of food. So if you can please bite. And feel free to chew. That will probably unlock an incredible taste. And it will begin to unlock the nutrients as you chew. So as you chew and as those nutrients are unlocked, feel the relationship between yourself and the universe that's nourishing you with this item of food. In a way, this is a cosmic moment whereby the universe has offered nourishment to the body. I'm laughing again because I normally do this with people in the same room. And it's weird to be doing it in this way. All right. So I'm assuming that you have chewed it in such a way that it became liquid and that you have swallowed it. So having swallowed it, it's now being absorbed, at least the nutrients are being absorbed into your body. So if you could please feel that. Now, obviously, we're not using our senses, but you can try to refine your inner perception, if you will, and to feel how now your digestive system is absorbing the nutrients for the nourishment of the body. So through the item of food, your body is connected to the capacity of the of the universe to nourish it. We're in relationship with the entire universe, without which we wouldn't be eating. All right. And so I recommend that even when you're eating a meal, take one meal and to eat slowly like this, and mindfully like this, and consciously like this, and see how that changes your sensorial interaction with the food and your deeper understanding of the interrelationships between every living being on the planet. All right. Now we're going to chant. So here's the chant. Oh, I'm just going to drink because I have to wash down the walnut. Now, when we chant, obviously we are creating our own sound. And the sound is going to be picked up by the sense of hearing. So we can use our capacity to express through the senses, to inspire ourselves through the senses. When we have a headache, we may comfort ourselves with touch. So chanting then obviously has so many benefits, but right now, given the topic, we are using the chant to sweeten the sense of hearing with, hopefully you'll find, a beautiful sound. So feel free to sing along or just to listen. The words are there, Bhavanam Kevalam. Kevalam is that which doesn't have a second, infinite consciousness. Baba is the way we feel this inside. It's the sweetness inside. And so the sweetness inside is yearning to become one with the sweetness of the universe. Bhavanam Kevalam, 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 Abanam 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 Kevalam. I'd like to explain the meditation we're going to do. I'll start with a little story from the time I spent with my guru in Calcutta, India. So one day we were in his presence and he'd just given a talk. And as he was leaving the room, he turned around and said, "Why aren't you meditating? You should be meditating." So everybody sat down and started to meditate. During this meditation, I felt the aroma, I sensed the aroma of rose. And it felt to me like it was something internal. I couldn't see that there was an external source of the aroma. And I was quite intrigued. It was so beautiful. It was so exhilarating to feel this inner sense of rose. And I asked a few people after the meditation about it, and others said, "Yeah, I also had that rose scent within myself." Now, it could have just been the wind bringing the rose aroma into the room, or it could have been that for some reason in that meditation, many of us got an inner sense of the rose scent. Now, Tantra talks about this, that these senses can look out into the world and can support our relationship with the external manifestation. Or the senses can look inwards. So the senses have an inner manifestation and they help us engage with life in a very subtle way.